Center, single back is Gibbs. Goff turn, gives it to Jameer, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. That's the way you make a statement on the road on Monday night to start a football game, straight down the field to the end zone. It is 2nd and goal from the 1. Goff out of the gun, hands it to Montgomery, tries the left side, did not get in. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. There, they say he did get in. Late call. There it is. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A 4th down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run-pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big-time stop by that defense. Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Al-Quadin Mohammed got him. Goff out of the gun. Montgomery to his right. Jared's got it back and looking, throwing right side. Wants Amon-Ra. End zone. Got it. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. What a delivery that time by Goff, where only Amon-Ra with those late hands could pull it in. And the Lions are an extra point away from drawing even once again here in Baltimore. Jackson fakes the give to Henry, wants to throw, steps up, gonna get hit, gonna get spun down again. That's another sack by that Lions defense. That is Al-Quadin Mohammed for the 2nd time tonight. 96, that is big, man. Goff up under center, turns, gives, Amon-Ra flips it out to Gibbs. He's to the house, baby. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, that is beautiful. Goff hands it to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra flips it to Gibbs, and the Lions have got the lead back. From the Lion 19, Jackson out of the gun. He's got it, wants to throw.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday morning. It is just, 48 hours or so away from the Detroit Lions about to kick the snot out of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be an epic game, but we got a lot of injuries to talk about today. A little bit of keys to the game. What's our offense and defense going to do? And we're going to run it all down. What's going on with St. Brown, Brian Branch, Manu Snee, Levante Maddox. And like I said, we'll do a little bit of keys to the game and a few other things we have lined up for you. Let's get it rolling.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, man. Did you watch that Monday Night Football game last night?
I watched the Thursday night football game.
Or Thursday, that's what I meant. Thursday Night Football game on Prime last night.
I did. Yeah, it was crazy.
What a fun game to watch, man. Saquon Barkley starts the game with a couple of real long rushes and then nothing. He disappeared. And I did something yesterday. I got on Prime yesterday afternoon before the game, and I watched the Saquon documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about his journey in the NFL so far. So every day he gets on camera, he has a camera at his house, and he talks to this camera every day about his journey through the NFL. And that's it went all the way through when he was with the Giants and his getting franchise tagged and his ACL injury and having kids and the whole ball of wax. It was pretty good. And I thought, hey, tonight the Giants are playing the Eagles and Saquon. This is kind of a going home game for him. So I thought Saquon was going to have a big game. I thought they were going to feature him a bunch. Man, he didn't do squat last night.
No, he really didn't. But neither did Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Yeah,
Matter of fact,
Barkley was 12 carries for 58 yards, no touchdowns. Jalen Hurts rushing was for 13 yards and 1 touchdown. And passing, he was 24 of 33 for 283 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception.
so it seemed like when they would get down with an opportunity to score, things would just go wrong.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the New York Giants looking pretty good. And Jackson Dart was one of my favorite quarterbacks coming into this draft. If you remember, I said it was either going to be Dart or Milroe or somebody that I thought was going to end up in the first round. And I thought that Dart was going to be a really, 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 really good quarterback in a short amount of time. I didn't expect him to start this year. I really didn't. I thought that Russell Wilson was going to kind of lead the New York Giants throughout this season, get Dart up to speed, and then he'd probably get, next year, full opportunity. Well, that obviously didn't happen. And Dart looks fantastic. I was watching the game last night, and I was watching that the same thing that you were watching with Saquon Barkley, and then I scrolled up, and somehow I ended up on something called Gridiron East or something, but it was a couple of guys doing a live stream hangout for the game, and so I'm just listening, like, what are they saying? What are they saying? Giants fans, and so I'm like, man, Dart's that dude. Like, he's looking good, and they had nothing good to say about the kid. So it's like some of the New York Giants fans don't really believe that Dart has consistency or, obviously hasn't been consistent yet. I think Dart's going to be fine. He looks like the real deal when you look at the quarterbacks that came out of the draft this season. He's definitely playing his part, and he could be one of the best. But, man, he's got a rocket for an arm. And he's accurate.
He's the first rookie quarterback to, in his first 3 games, have at least 50 rushing yards in his first 3 games, in each of his first 3 games.
Yeah.
And the thing about him is he has no fear. And he jumps headfirst into a lot of stuff. And you saw him get knocked out for a play and had to go to the blue tent and everything yesterday. He better be careful, because if he plays that way when he comes to play the Lions in Ford Field, he's going to end up, I don't want to say it, but injury is a real deal in the NFL for quarterbacks. You have to slide. You have to take care of your body. You can't come in and do the stuff you did in college.
He didn't really. I don't think he really put himself in a bad situation on that play. I think it was more so he landed on that football the wrong way. It looked like he had the wind knocked out of him. I didn't hear.
No, when he went down. He went down head first right into another player that also had his head kind of down. They clashed helmets, and his face mask went up in his face, and I think it hit him in the nose or the eye or something. His helmet was all twisted, and then the way he fell to the turf, he just needs to protect himself. He doesn't need to be putting his head in there. But did you notice every time that Jackson Dart snuck the ball last night on short distance, he got it every single time, and they didn't have to tush push. And now I have a question for you. Now, this is about the Philadelphia Eagles and their tush push move. Now, they did it 4 plays in a row from the 3-yard line all the way in, got a touchdown, and on multiple snaps, their guard went early. They showed replays, and their right guard, I don't know his name, he left early before the ball snapped. Now, if they cannot fairly referee that play, if there's not somebody on the line looking down the line on each side that can call that play fairly, or they can't have a camera call it fairly, somebody from up top call that penalty, then they need to get rid of the play. Last night on social media, Micah Parsons got on and said they need to get rid of the tush push. This isn't a football play. Doing it 4 times like that. And how do they not have any faith in Saquon Barkley at all to turn around and hand him the ball and get in? He's probably the best running back in the NFL. How are you not utilizing this guy?
Yeah, hold on here. So on the tush push.
Yeah.
I don't really care what Parsons says. If you can't stop the play, that's your fault. Right? Okay, it's more of a rugby type play. The issue with this play, which they've been talking about it all off season, is the vision. To what you're speaking to is the vision that you can't really see inside the scrum. But last night there was video evidence that showed them jumping early, and whether it's a guard on the offense or if it's a defensive tackle on the defense, if video evidence was able to capture that, then this play needs to be reviewable. And I think that it should be, at a minimum, reviewable inside the red zone. Otherwise, it's going to take way too much time away from the game. Or maybe they remove the play from competition outside or inside or outside the red zone, and it's only allowed inside the red zone, so that you don't, there's many different ways you can skin the cat, right? But yeah, I would say that the main issue is the vision. And that's what they were talking about this offseason, is that they needed, proper vision to be able to ref this properly. But they have it. They clearly had it last night. They talked about it, the analysts, they talked about it, and they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything about it. As far as not stopping it, I mean, that's a Parsons problem.
Yeah.
That's his problem.
No. Like, I never had a problem with the tush push. I never did. I was always like, it's a play. You have to stop it. You have to come up with a way to do it. And my thing about it is this: when you have offensive linemen who are not properly lining up on every single attempt, and then you have guards firing off a quarter of a second, a half of a second early,
the Eagles
and not getting
getting
called,
a little upset that some
it just makes for a very, very unfair advantage for any team that uses that play that way. It should be called. If you're offsides, you're offsides. If you're lined up incorrectly, you're lined up incorrectly. They've been making that such a big emphasis this year on, not covering up the person on the end of the line of scrimmage, and they've been calling flags like crazy on every team all across the league. Well, why can't you throw a flag for them not lining up properly on a tush push? Because they're not doing it, and they've showed it on a bunch of different podcasts and national analysts and everything. They have all the TV looks, and they'll draw a line, and then they draw the line through the center's waistline where everybody is supposed to be lined up when you're a tackle, and they're not even close. They're a half a yard away from where they're supposed to be. They're lined up too close to the line of scrimmage, and it just I just think unless they can referee it fairly, they need to get rid of it. Not because it's a bad football play, but because the refs just aren't doing their job. I blame the refs for this, not the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if you have the personnel to pull it off, then I think a lot of teams would use it. I think the issue is a lot of teams don't have the personnel to pull it off. You need bigger, heavier offensive linemen. I don't even know why they started using it. Honestly, I don't know the full history on why they started using it or when. Maybe it was 3-4 seasons ago or something.
Yeah,
that this really started to be prevalent for one of their play calls. I was going to bring in Mike Florio on this, but I think I'll scrap that.
Okay.
I heard the audio working, but I think I'll scrap it.
All right.
It is what it is, man. But basically what Florio was saying is that the Eagles could potentially be in danger next season of not being able to run this play.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters whether they can run this play or not. Their team looked like SHT last night.
Yeah, they did not look good.
They looked horrible on defense. They looked horrible on offense. Now, I know on defense they were missing their big playmaker in the middle, but
Carter.
Yes, but you have to you
can't sell the whole season because of one player. Come on, the Lions were down 21 players last season. We still ripped off 15 wins.
Now, just like week 1 when the Lions went to the Packers came to play. Last night, the Giants came to play. That was their Super Bowl last night. And I saw a quote from Jackson Dart earlier in the day that he said, this is our Super Bowl. We have to win this game no matter what. He said that in some interview somewhere. And I thought, man, this kid really wants this game tonight. And he went out and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And man, I'm kicking myself in the butt today because I had the choice to put Cam Scadaboo in on one of my fantasy teams last night. And I chickened out. I went with David Montgomery instead. And Cam Scadaboo got me 30 points on my bench.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than I get out of my quarterback.
Cam
weeks.
Scadaboo is legit, man. He is.
I see now why Kyle Brandt was so head over heels for this kid.
He's going to be fun to watch. He's already fun to watch. I mean, he drops 3 TDs in the bucket last night. He runs hard. He finishes. You better expect big time contact from Cam Scadaboo, and he loves it, man. But unfortunately, I see him looking like Christian McCaffrey was what I called him earlier in the season. I'm like, this is the second coming of Christian McCaffrey, and it's not because of his skin color. It's because of the way he runs. It's his style of running. He's vicious. He's intentful. Intentful. I don't even know if that's a word. He runs with intent. He finishes with power, and he runs. I mean, the guy's fast. If you haven't watched him, he's fast. Good luck catching him. So
and I saw something on Cam last night that after every play and during every play, he's always shaking his head, right? So if he gets up after every play and does that, he's never going to get called into the blue tent for a concussions check, because every single play he's shaking his head. I don't know if his helmet's loose or if it's just
you talk about Cam
Scadaboo after every single play goes.
It's probably because he's hitting people so damn hard.
Well, that's what I thought, but I guess he's like, when he was at Arizona State, he used to do the Gus Frerotte. He used to go to a brick wall and hit his helmet on a brick wall. Helmet first.
Yeah, the dude is nuts. So last night, one of my biggest calls of the game when we were doing we were trying to do the parlay yesterday was Dallas Goedert. I expected him to have a big game last night. Dallas Goedert was 9 of 11 for 110 yards with 1 TD. So that got me rolling yesterday in one of my anytime scored parlays. I do have one parlay that's worth $280,000. Let's just hope that one hits. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of help to a lot of people, man. If we can make that one hit, we'll see. It's only 14 player parlay, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's out there, but so I'll just be straight up with it. I did a couple that were heavy on tight ends this week. I see a lot of opportunity for some tight ends in a few games. So I went heavy there, and the tight ends aren't getting a lot of love. So their points or their ability, to get you more points is there.
Just got a $2 super chat from Accelerator, and he says Lions 58, Chiefs 57.
Jeez.
I don't know if I like that for our defense at all. I would not like that. That would push us so far down away from our number we're trying to get to of 20.
Yeah. But I do think it's going to be an interesting game. Today's keys, the things that we talk about today, it may or may not line up with things that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. When Keys to the Game finally gets released, that'll be tomorrow. The article will be tomorrow. The video will be tomorrow. This is a tough game to kind of figure out, but I will say I do like our chances. I even that we're kind of hurt right now. I do like our chances. A couple of things I want to talk about real quick to kind of get out of the way is the Detroit Lions injury report. I spoke about this a little bit yesterday when I updated on Avonte Maddox. Of course, you guys know that Terrion Arnold is out with a shoulder. Zach Cunningham's still out with a hamstring. Taylor Decker is not practicing with his shoulder. Rumor is Taylor Decker is trending towards playing this weekend. Kirby Joseph, he's not practicing with knee soreness. That's an interesting one to watch, but it sounds to me more so that this is just rest versus actual injury. Khalif Raymond was he did not practice on Wednesday. He was limited yesterday. So he's also trending in the right direction. Let me pull my notes back up.
Did you see that Kirby Joseph after the game? I think it was on his Instagram, posted a picture of him with his knee brace on. He's been wearing a knee brace the last game or two, and so that's new. And
it's more than likely just for stability. So let me run through the rest of the injury snapshot here. So in the Detroit Lions, the key statuses obviously is our secondary. So Terry and Arnold, he's out, long absence likely. DJ Reed, he's out on IR. Khalil Dorsey, he was placed on IR last week. Kirby Joseph, with the knee issue, expected to battle through it. And then Brian Branch. Brian Branch is not going to IR. I'm just telling you right now. And if he does, it has not been announced. No one would know about it. He went for an MRI. And that was it. He went for an MRI just to make sure that there's nothing sinister going on in the ankle. Brian has had consistent ankle injuries almost every year. Every single season, he's had something go on with an ankle. But reported by Dave Burkett yesterday that he was going for an MRI, but never anywhere reported from the team. Just like the report about, the Lions contacting the NFL about Aiden Hutchinson and the low blocks and all that. That was also bullshit. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to use the bullshit today on this report that came out, I guess, earlier this morning by somebody that said that he was going to IR. It is totally fake. He's limited right now. If he was going to IR, he wouldn't have been a limited participant in yesterday's practice or the practice before. He would not be practicing, period. You're not a limited participant and then go to IR typically. That usually doesn't happen. So unless something happened in practice yesterday at the end of practice and he was re-injured, but that wasn't reported either. So we'll pay attention to what, the news is today. Obviously, I'll get it out later on once we get some sort of an answer. On the offensive side of the football, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a big need in this game. His wrist, as I reported yesterday or the day before, that I didn't feel it was going to be a big deal, and so far it's not. He has not practiced on Wednesday, but he did practice in full yesterday. He is expected to play. Good news on Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond, with the neck injury, did not practice earlier in the week, but he is trending upwards right now. Looking at the injury report one more time here, Khalif Raymond was DNP Wednesday, limited on Thursday. So if he can stay in that limited role, possibility is that he would be questionable before the game. I don't know if the Lions are going to risk it for the biscuit, but we'll see how that one trends. Obviously, having him back there is key for the offense. Also, as a punt returner, we do have some guys that can return punts. It won't be to the same level of Khalif Raymond. But then again, I mean, Sailors, that dude's got some moves, man. He could make one or break one to the end zone. Who else was on offense? All right, Taylor Decker I already spoke about. Sione Vaki, still out with a groin, has not practiced at all this week. Ali McNeil's been a full participant both days, and that's good. The rumor is he's going to be playing this weekend. We'll be following this to make sure that we get you the up to the minute news when we do get the final answer. And then Giovanni Manu popped up with a knee, so he did not have any sort of a injury designation on Wednesday, and then popped up yesterday with a knee. So that's interesting, especially after listening to Dan Campbell the night before, and we highlighted that yesterday with Dan Campbell that he was considering doing something different at left tackle this week. Is it the knee? Doubtful. Is it the Manu play? Probably more so. That's why he would make a move. But right now we have Skipper up and we still have Cochran. So Lions are in good shape. They have the ability to slide guys to help whoever's over there. They just didn't do it the week before. Well, at least not enough, in my opinion. Then Avonte Maddox, the one that I reported on yesterday, another corner, another injury, right? It's like new day, new injury for Detroit Lions. He's got a hamstring. And yesterday I had mentioned that, hamstrings are a little bit fickle. They're a little bit tricky, especially when you're in the last year of your contract, right? So, a little shout out to Alex Anzalone. That's it, man. That's your report. What are your comments on it? What are your fears?
I went back through and watched the Lions and Bengals game again yesterday, and I watched it through a different lens. I watched every single play of Manu, so I wanted to see if he did anything to himself in the game, since he showed up with a knee injury yesterday, but I didn't see anything in the game. But what I did notice was that probably on about 50% of the pass blocking snaps that he was in, he had zero help.
No help.
He was on an island all by himself.
Yep.
And all but 2 of those plays, he did pretty well. And I have to commend him for that. And I know he had a couple of bad plays. He had one against Hendrickson, and he had one against the other guy. I can't remember his name, 58. 58 just got around him, went straight for Jared Goff. So, seeing Manu on the practice report for this week, kind of worrisome, but like you said, we have Big Skip coming back up, and we have the other guy. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, that's where it gets kind of interesting. We were kind of talking about this beforehand, and Xavier Worthy went from a full practice on Wednesday to did not practice with a shoulder and ankle. He hurt his shoulder and was out for 3 or 4 weeks early in the season. And then now he's got an ankle that's popping up that swelled up on him after the game on the way home from Jacksonville. And he practiced full on Wednesday, but then Thursday he did not practice. And you have to remember, Rashee Rice is still on suspension through the Lions game. So if Xavier Worthy can't go, that's a big up for the Detroit Lions if he can't go this weekend.
I'm sorry, if who? Worthy?
Xavier Worthy.
I didn't see anything about him being down.
Well, they made him questionable yesterday because I got a notification that he's questionable for this weekend.
Hold on, let me pull that injury report back up.
Yep. He did not practice yesterday. He was the only person on the Kansas City's injury list that did not practice. Now, I found one other thing kind of interesting, that Patrick Mahomes is listed with a groin. He was a full practice both days, Wednesday and Thursday, but he's got a groin. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, they got to list it, but if he's full, I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, everybody that was somewhat, I don't even know why they're listed. Honestly, if they're a full participant, Wednesday and Thursday,
yeah, why list them?
Why list them unless something happened? Technically they have to list it. If an injury was reported to the team, they have to list it. If you went out during the game, they have to list it. So I would say that it's probably just semantics here. But yeah, Xavier Worthy being the only one that did not practice, but he was a full participant the day before. So my question is, did something happen in practice on Wednesday? Just like with Avonte Maddox, he got injured. Apparently, came up limp in practice on Wednesday. Just a quick reminder: I am going to try to do the Tigers live tonight. I haven't done one yet. It'll be on the other channel, so I will post a link in the community channel for this channel, or the community area for this channel. I'll also put it on Twitter.
What's your other channel?
It's the other one that I don't use anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's live sports now.
Okay.
Just doing live stuff every once in a while, like we'll do UFC or.
Okay.
I just haven't had a ton of time to do it, and I don't have anybody to fill in right now for it. So if anybody wants to fill in and take over a channel, by all means, let me know. It's monetized. Xavier Worthy, no, he did not suffer any new injury in practice. Rather, he missed Thursday due to an existing shoulder and ankle issue. So it's existing. After being a full participant the day before, the ankle injury was added to his injury report the previous Sunday as a precautionary measure after he experienced swelling following the team's flight to Jacksonville. Well, don't eat salt.
Yeah.
Don't eat salt. Yeah, I would say, I got a question. Like, just speaking of salt, or thinking of salt here. Okay, so these guys, I mean, they sweat a ton. So you would think everything that they drink, they're going to sweat it all out pretty much anyway, right?
Yeah.
But man, they consume, a lot of them consume so much Gatorade and all of these other drinks that have so much salt in it, right, to help you retain the water. What does that do to their kidneys and things later on in life? By drinking so much of these types of drinks and recovery drinks that are loaded with salt, there has to be another way outside of salt, right, to retain water. There has to be. But there's a question I've always had, because I used to drink nothing but Gatorade every day, whether I was working out, playing sports, didn't matter. I always drank Gatorade. And my doctor told me, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, he's like, dude, if you're not playing, then don't be drinking that stuff. Because the long term with Gatorade is that it can make you worse. It actually dries out your ligaments and tendons, which would then lead to more cramping and things down line. And here I am today, 45 years old, and I got nothing but tightness and all these weird things going on with my muscles and ligaments. So I'm wondering if there's anything to that. If these guys are drinking so much that it would injure them down line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's just a weird thought, random thought that I had.
Well, and you saw in the last game, just that reminds me, Rock Ya-Sin came out for a minute because he was cramping, and the first thing they did is they gave him a cup of Gatorade, and then they gave him this little packet of stuff that he squeezed and drank real quick, and I'm guessing that's exactly what it was, just a Gatorade type. Let's get you some electrolytes and some salts in you, and we'll get you going. And then I saw another team. They gave their quarterback a banana because he was cramping up. Get some potassium in him. So I know they have all that stuff right on the sidelines, ready to go.
Yeah, I see a couple of comments in the chat here. So go look up a Gatorade. I want to say that the first or about 12 ounces or so has 150 or 160 milligrams of sodium in it. And most
sugar.
Yeah, well, tons of sugar too. But I drink the sugar free. But most Gatorades are, I've never seen a 12-ounce Gatorade unless it's the little baby bottles. But they're like 24 ounces, so that's closer to 320, 380, 360. That's a ton of salt. Like I used to love, speaking of salt, I used to love like ramen type noodles, or like pho, whatever you want to call it. And so every time I go to Costco, they always have these all weird different kinds, all these kinds of different noodles. And I'm like, man, that's always such a quick, easy meal. And then I flip the box over and it says 1,800 milligrams of sodium. And I just laugh and walk away. And because one thing will always stick in my brain. I watched this special. It was about prison, guys in prison, right? And they're talking about a certain race that they had kidney issues and other issues in prison and when they left prison. And it's because their primary food was ramen. And they were eating like 4 or 5 ramen packs a day if they could afford it. Imagine how much sodium that is. If each one has about 800 milligrams of sodium in it, and you're eating 4 or 5 of those things in a meal every day. Yeah. No wonder why they're having issues with their kidneys. So, and again, I'm not a doctor, but that's what that special was talking about. So that always stuck in my head. So every time I flip the pack over and I look like, why? Like I don't even buy pasta sauce. I make my own pasta sauce because I don't want all the sodium. There's just no need for it. There's no need for all that salt. I know there's, the big thing about MSG out there, but just a little drop of MSG gives you way more flavor than, tablespoons of salt. It's crazy. And I'm not saying to eat MSG either.
Oh, this chat's funny.
Yeah. Well, there's me for going off the wall on non-football stuff for the day.
There you go. What's wrong with that? Nothing.
Well, sometimes this chat will go nuts and talk about nothing but not football.
They like this one. The dyes are worse than the salt.
Oh yeah.
Saw something about pickle juice in there. Trace says that
I used to do the pickle juice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trace says there's 300 to 330 milligrams of sodium per 20 ounce of Gatorade.
Good God. That is so much.
Sea salt's good. Iodized salt is bad. Jay Cruzen says jail burritos I always made.
Why am I not surprised, buddy? Why am I not surprised? Did you take the Fritos and you put some water in it and then you put a bunch of stuff in it, you roll it all up, put it on the heater?
Yeah, flaming hot Cheetos.
I was
all
never
that,
in prison or anything, but I heard about this. I heard
Made
they're really
toilet wine, too.
yeah, I heard they're really good. Never had one.
You ever seen that movie Let's Go to Jail?
No. What?
Oh
No.
God, you gotta watch it. It's so funny. They make toilet wine, and then when they get out of prison, they end up making toilet wine, and that's what they're famous for, and that's how they make their fortune.
Toilet wine.
Oh, it's funny. It's that movie is so funny.
I've made wine in the closet before because I don't know, 10 years or so ago, I found this interesting, I don't know if it was a short or something on YouTube, but they were taking grape juice, they were adding like yeast and sugar to it, and then they were putting it in the closet for like 2 months. And then you would burp it every so often and it would turn into like a grape wine. And so I tried it and I never tried it again because that stuff was god awful and very potent and instant headache. So yeah, never again.
This is the best Rise and Grind morning show we've ever had.
No, I don't know about all that. Ramen, prison burritos, toilet wine, and closet wine. Man, you can tell we are loaded with topics today.
Oh, we got this.
All right, let's get into we already did the injury report. So let's do a quick rundown of NFC North report. What's going on in the NFC North?
Sure. Okay. So, do the Minnesota Vikings have a QB controversy? Well, according to Jordan Addison, he was working out all week through the bye week with JJ McCarthy to get JJ ready to start in week 7.
What's the question?
Do they have a controversy at QB? JJ McCarthy is coming off an injury and he practiced all week during the bye week. And Jordan Addison said he was practicing with him to get him ready for week 7.
Okay, so what's the controversy?
Well, Carson Wentz has been the starter and he went 2-1 as a starter so far. And O'Connell has not named the starter, do not believe, for the next game. He has not named JJ McCarthy the starter. So it's still Wentz as far as I know.
I don't know, man. Well, I forget what JJ McCarthy's injury was. What was it?
It was an ankle or something.
Okay. So if he's ready to go, and if Carson Wentz is winning games, this is that age-old question, right? It's a problem that every team has to go through whenever they have a player that's injured. And us as fans, we kind of get ticked off about this too, that when a player goes down and then all of a sudden, okay, I'll use an example. Davenport goes down, AQM comes in and he's having a bang up of a year so far, ranked 11th right now in the pass rush win rate. When Davenport's healthy, are they going to throw Davenport back out there? And is AQM going to have a back seat? Fans will melt down about that. Not just because maybe Davenport's a bad example. If it was anybody other than Davenport, maybe they wouldn't melt down as much. But I think that you would still be upset as a Lions fan to say, why would you put this guy back in who hasn't played? Well, most teams would then say, well, that player's better, really a better player, fits more of what we do. Even though this guy has some stats, the stats don't matter. And I don't know how many times I have to pound that into the sand. The stats don't matter. What matters is what they do on the other 55 plays that they don't produce stats on. That's what matters. It's hard to look at football that way. It's hard to say, okay, J-Mo's a good example, right? So there's fans that are all upset about J-Mo. I forgot to touch on this yesterday. Not to sideline JJ McCarthy, but now I got to run with it. So fans are all up in, their feelings over J-Mo not producing on the field. I'm not. I mean, you would have thought that I would have been the first one to say this is a problem. Oh my God, we just paid J-Mo all this money. He's not out there producing. Lions made a huge mistake. I warned you. I told you, yada, yada, yada. Nope. You're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear that from me. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why you're not going to hear it from me is because of what he's doing downfield. It's what he's doing in the run game, that he's blocking. He's doing what he has to do to be a team, a teammate first. And when he gets his chance, he gets his number called, he'll be available. He just has to catch the ball this time. He can't drop it. And that was one game. So I'm not really that worried about that either. So when you have all of these issues like this that seem to arise on every team, player comes out, and then the original player comes back in, fans get all upset about it, but it's what that player was doing on the non-stat plays that made the difference. For JMO, he's out there doing all of these things while he's not collecting catches and receptions or in yards and TDs. So why would you change that? You wouldn't change that. You wouldn't put somebody in over JMO to go in and catch the ball, i.e., Isaac Tesla. A lot of fans saying, well, Tesla is ready to go. We need to put Tesla in over JMO. No. What you guys are worried about is your damn fantasy football. And I'm going to tell you right now, fantasy football is meaningless to the NFL. However, it's worth a bunch of money. So, I mean, boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of money. And that is why people get so upset about it. So I guess my question to you then would be, one, are you concerned about JMO not having stats, but doing what he's doing? And with JJ, to come full circle here with JJ, if Carson Wentz is winning, why would you change that just because you've made JJ the franchise quarterback, so to speak, to start the season? If he's winning and he's doing a great job, I wouldn't change a thing until he's starting to have a problem. Then I would make the change. Give me your thoughts, and then I'll come back to the super chat.
Well, Wentz has went 2-1. So over in London, in England, and Ireland, he went 1-1 across the pond. And Wentz has made a compelling case to remain the team starter. He has completed 69% of his passes. He's got 759 yards passing. He's got 5 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And it's all behind a patchwork offensive line. Their offensive line has, they've put guys on IR. Out of their 5 starters from the beginning of the season, I think there's only 2 or 3 of them that are playing on a consistent basis throughout the 5 weeks of the season. And you're going to ask JJ McCarthy to come back to a patchwork offensive line and just get hurt again. So I think, in my opinion, they should wait. I don't think that Carson Wentz is lighting it up. He's not putting up all world numbers. He's not, putting up 3 touchdowns a game with Justin Jefferson, nothing like that. But I think you need to let JJ get completely healthy, and why not let Wentz be behind this patchwork offensive line until they can get their health together for him. So in my opinion, I think they should wait just a little bit of time. And JMO, man, there is nothing wrong with JMO. I don't care what anybody says. It's a nothing burger. If you saw JMO in the preseason at training camp, you would understand why I feel the way I feel about JMO. JMO could come on and have a 5-catch game against the Chiefs this week and have 5 touchdowns. And each one of those catches could have been a 7-yard out route, and see ya, goodbye. He catches something over the middle for 7-8 yards, and goodbye to the house every single time. JMO is a human firecracker when it comes to catching passes in the NFL. I don't think there's very many other wide receivers in the NFL that can do what JMO does. He absolutely takes the top off of a defense. I mean, Tyreek Hill was doing it before, but he hasn't been the same player the last few years with Tua. Jameson Williams, he's going to have a breakout game here sooner or later. But what he is doing for this offense, he is taking the safety over the top, and a corner with him to his side of the field. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is juking his corner and running into the middle of the field wide open and getting all these passes. So I don't care if Amon-Ra's getting them, if Sam Laporta is getting them. J-Mo is doing his job by taking double teams up the field.
He's not always taking double teams, but
sometimes.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown has always done what he's done with or without J-Mo in the game. So I don't want to put too much on J-Mo here. Like he's not doing that much. In my opinion. Your opinion is different. But I would say that regardless of J-Mo in or out, he is affecting the game. And I know you're hypothetical, 5 touches for 5 TDs. That's just hypothetical.
He could.
I mean, I could, but that's hypothetical.
In any game. Well, I think he has a better chance than 99% of other wide receivers in the league to have a 5-catch, 5-touchdown game.
I mean, I get it, but it's super rare. I don't even know if it's ever happened.
Yes. I don't think it's ever happened either. But
I get what you're saying. I mean, the thing about the value of J-Mo is in what I always say about him. He's 1 touch away from the end zone. Mm-hmm. Anytime he catches the football, he has a clear shot at the end zone every single time because it's just making 1 or 2 guys miss and he's gone. I have not noticed a lot of bracket or double on J-Mo. I haven't, and that part does concern me because if they're not giving him the credibility, why is he not getting open, or why is he not getting looked at more? So you watched the tape the other day. I would key in on J-Mo and see if you go to NFL Pro, on the left side, it says like team or name. You can type in his name, and then you pull up the game, and then you can watch just all of the plays with J-Mo.
Oh, there you go.
That way you don't. That's why I was saying it the other day that I needed that to be loaded into NFL Pro because I'm not going to sit there and watch a condensed version and not have the ability to key in on just their plays and then rewind and rewind and rewind. You know what I mean? And kind of go through it. It's easier for me. Obviously, it'd be easier for anybody. All right, let me get back to this $20 super chat, which, by the way, super appreciate you. All balls, no D. Let me get you lined up with something.
Yeah, too bad you don't have a Tigers thing lined up in there for him.
No, I mean,
an old school Cabrera home run or something, grand slam.
Hold on. Where the hell is it? Here we go. All I have is the Amik one right now for some reason.
On 3rd and 14, Jones has got it, setting up a screen, and it's blown up. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson just sent ETN back to Jacksonville.
All right, so I'll answer your question as best as I can. I have not paid extreme amount of attention to the Tigers because I do this every damn day. But I would say that in the beginning of the season, there was some conversation very similar to that question from another channel that was saying, that they haven't done enough. The GM for the Tigers has not done enough. And the Tigers they're not going to do anything this year. Hold on. And my immediate reaction was, and this was like spring, right? My immediate reaction was just give them a chance. Like baseball hasn't even started, right? And then what happens? They go out and get a 15-game lead. So yeah, I would say that they did enough in the beginning. They absolutely did enough. So what did he do in the at the trade deadline? Didn't he bring in like 7 pitchers? If I remember, there was Paddock, Morton, Finnegan, and like 4 or 5 others. But he brought in like 7 pitchers at the trade deadline. Now, I'm not saying that the guys that we brought in are going to make, heads or tails of this team and be able to give you a win on any given day. But, I mean, Scooble's your guy. I mean, he's the only guy that we have. This is not the days of having, what did we have about 10, 12 years ago? We had like 4 or 5 aces that could go out there. And my memory's for shit. So I can't remember. I know it's Verlander. Wasn't it Max? And God, who else was on that squad? We had like 4 or 5 aces. It was insane what they could do. That might even have been 15 years ago. So it's been a while since we've had a bullpen like that. This bullpen is close. I would say that we need some better closers right now, and we need some bats to stay hot. But they've shown up, man. They got into the dance, and they're dancing. So that's all that matters is that you get in. They were able to hold on. I don't know what was going on with Javi Baez and his bat or lack thereof, but I would say that they've done enough, but they still need to do more, and they will. I don't know why they're not out spending big money. In baseball, it's a little bit different than football, right? Football, you're capped. In baseball, I mean, these guys spend so much money, it's not even funny. It'll be interesting to see what they do next year. I don't know if we have enough to go the distance this year, but hey, we've seen it happen before, right? We've seen teams make it that had no business making it. Can they do it? We'll find out. What is it? Game 5 tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Game 5 tonight. Mariners are beatable. They're beatable. So they just got to take care of business. They got to have some bats tonight. To answer your question, did Greenberg do enough? Probably not. But then again, it's the team that fell apart. It's not Hinch, right? It's not Hinch's fault. Whose fault is it for the team falling apart during the season? You guys have watched the team more than I did. And so when we do the live tonight, that's going to be a good conversation. You tell me what you think. You've watched more games than me this year. I used to watch every game every year, or at least listen to it if I was out driving or working or, doing whatever I'm doing. I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to pull off 2 teams. It's tough. You let me know, man. You let me know.
All right. And up next, we have the Green Bay Packers on the NFC North report. The Packers have not won a game in over 3 weeks. And now their kicker, Brandon McManus, has a quad injury that kept him out of practice yesterday. So the Green Bay Packers worked out 2 kickers. And to make matters worse, McManus and LaFleur don't agree on his injury status.
And the Vikings?
No, on
no, and
Packers.
then the Bears?
Oh, I was going to go through McManus here.
Oh, I thought you were done. You paused. I thought you were done.
No, I was trying to open something. The Green Bay Packers kicker McManus was injured during Wednesday's practice and only took mental reps during Thursday's practice. According to McManus, he plans to play through his quad injury, despite head coach Matt LaFleur calling it a major concern before practice on Thursday. So while McManus might think he's playing against the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend, the Packers still made a move to hedge their bets. On Thursday, according to Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Sentinel, Green Bay worked out 2 kickers, Greg Joseph and Lucas Harvissick. Generally, the Packers only work out players on Mondays or Tuesdays during the regular season, so this is certainly an out of the ordinary move for the team. So if the Packers do not have their starting kicker in McManus, they may be in just a little bit of trouble going into this game against the Bengals, because the Packers have been playing in some pretty close games and kickers meant everything in that tie against the Cowboys. So what do you think about the kicker for the Packers getting hurt in practice on Wednesday?
I mean, oh, well, is what it is. I really don't have a comment on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. What did he stretch? Did he stretch out his quad or his hammy? Yeah, that's a tough injury, especially for a kicker. So you don't want to have to depend on your kicker, and they're depending on their kicker right now.
Yeah.
I was just looking back for just a second, so I really wasn't paying attention. I was trying to look back at one of the most dominant bullpens for the Tigers back in the time when I really was deep into the Tigers. I was still playing baseball back then. Old man's baseball, but I was still playing.
You talking about 1984, Kurt Gibson, Lou Whitaker?
Dude, I was 4 years
Alan
old.
Trammell.
No, I was 4 years old back then.
That was so awesome. I remember listening to every game on the radio.
No, I'm talking about Verlander and Scherzer and Anibal Sanchez and Doug Fister and Rick Porcello. Like those
After baseball wasn't baseball anymore.
Yeah, those were the days, man. Back between 2008 and 2015 were some of the most fun seasons to watch as a Tigers fan, at least for me. That's when I was much bigger into baseball. I slowly migrated to football full time. Anyway.
All right, we're going to go to the Bears for the last one. Facing the Commanders this week on Monday Night Football, Bears fans question if Jaden Daniels was the better choice at QB, number 1 overall. And I'll pull a little something up here. And
wait, what do you mean they question it? What do you mean they question if Jaden Daniels was a better quarterback than Caleb? I told them and warned them from the the day before the draft and a month before the draft and 3 months before the draft. I told them you're making a huge mistake. If you remember, I did a funny oh my God, what is it called? Why is my brain rotten this morning? Anyway, I did my pre-draft rankings and everything last year. And the first one that I put out, my mock draft, the first one, I put Jaden Daniels as the number 1 quarterback off the board to the Bears. And I said, but they're stupid. The Bears won't take him. They're gonna take Caleb Williams. And it's gonna be a major issue for them. And it was. And Jaden Daniels goes on to have one of the best rookie seasons ever for a quarterback. Little bit of a slumpiness this year, but he's still playing great. Yep. So yeah, absolutely. Daniels was the better quarterback. How is this even a conversation?
Well, there's a lot of Bears fans that are standing up for Williams because he's more durable. He has not missed a game where Jaden Daniels has missed quite a few games. Jaden Daniels, that was his not coming into the draft, was that he was kind of small framed. He was a skinny guy. He didn't even weigh 200 pounds. So is he going to be durable enough in the NFL? Well, if you look at their overall stats in 2024, Jaden Daniels played 1,062 snaps, while Caleb played 1,061 snaps. So pretty equal there. Then you go to their passing yardage. Caleb Williams threw for 3,541 yards, and Jaden Daniels threw for 3,568 yards. But the big difference is here. So passing touchdowns for Jaden Daniels was 25, while Caleb Williams was 20. So they're not far off.
But what was their rushing yardage difference?
Rushing yardage. Let's see if I can find that here.
And then what was their record difference? You know what I mean? Like there's way more.
Record is huge.
Yeah, stats are part of the equation.
Yep. I just think it's funny that Bears fans are looking back a year later and questioning whether they should have taken Jaden Daniels. It's not even a question in our mind. We've been saying it since the beginning that Jaden Daniels was the better quarterback. And could you imagine if they had Jaden Daniels in that system, and now with Ben Johnson and everything he does with that type of a quarterback? Because Caleb Williams, he's a mobile quarterback, but he is not mobile like Jaden Daniels is. So I just thought it was an interesting conversation that Bears fans are actually having about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels heading into their Monday night clash.
Yeah, we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out who has the better team. This is not going to be who's the better quarterback because obviously it's a team game. But I do expect Jaden Daniels. That Bears offense is porous. So I do expect Jaden Daniels to have a good game on Monday night. So for the next half hour or so, we will start to break down the game for the weekend, Kansas City and the Detroit Lions. But first, I wanted to roll through the NFL pass rush rankings ahead of Week 6. Aiden Hutchinson is making his way back and up the list, Micah Parsons is still number 1 in the league with a 93.4 pass rush grade. If you had an opportunity to get into the live last night, which a lot of you didn't, shame on you, you would have gone through a very boring but enlightening conversation about pass rush grades. I don't know what is going on with my YouTube here. It just decides to close. I gotta get this figured out. It goes, oh snap, and it closes all the time. And I'm not even at 10% memory. So last night when I went through it, if you had an opportunity to listen to the majority of it, it was explaining how PFF does their grading. So the algorithm is released and it's right on PFF now. It explains exactly what they do and exactly how they grade. But there is so many inaccuracies in there, and I think it's a giant conspiracy now of how they're doing this. It doesn't make sense. And like I said, if you watch the film, you are going to see a much different perspective, because there's no way you could rank the grade that Aiden got last week after watching that film based on what PFF says that they do. There's no way. They even say in there that they try to do it without bias. If you have bias at all involved in your metrics or your analytics, that's a problem. You have to have it set up. You must have it set up without bias. But you're using human element. They have over 600 employees that are looking at these games, but only 10% of them are allowed to grade games, and then 3% of those do the final rankings. And so I started to do the math. Eric, I said, okay, 600 employees, they're watching film, they're watching the games. You have 60 employees that are allowed to grade, and then you have up to 3% of them, which is only like 2 people if you do 2 at the 60, or if you do 3% of the 600, that would be up to 18 people. That would make a little bit more sense if it was 18 people that are allowed to do the final grading, but that's not the way that I read it, in the PFF thing. So if there's only 2 or 3 people that can do the final grading, tell me, how are 2 or 3 people going to watch 16 games? And if you even do the condensed version, and if you just, just like we would do, whittle it down to, 1 player, there's 22 guys on the field. You have at least 1 hour of tape that you're going to have to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 22 hours per team times 32 teams. That's 704 hours of tape. If you're going to key in on every player for every game. 704 hours of tape.
Is PFF using some kind of chip?
No, that's next
to
gen.
track these players at all? No, next gen. Okay.
PFF is all human element. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's look at it another way. If you have 704 hours of tape and you have 18 guys or ladies watching it, right? So you divide it by 18. That's 39 hours of film that each person would have to watch. So how is it possible to get out these rankings in 24 hours? It's not. It's not possible. If you're telling me that only, 2 or 3 people can give the final grading and they have to review it all according to the information that I read last night, that they have to do the final review. So again, it's bullshit. That's why I don't use the final grades as the, that's not the end all be all for me. That's why I watch film. And so when I give you my takes on Aiden, a lot of people dislike it. They talk crap to me about it because they think I'm a Hutch hater. No. If you guys talk about Edge, I said this last night, if you talk about the Edge, I'm going to talk about the Edge. But if you're going to have a take that I know or feel is not accurate because I've watched the film and my eyes aren't perfect, right? I'm nowhere near an NFL scout type level, but at least being able to watch it all and then utilizing all of the information and all the subscriptions and everything that we have, I think that we can do a pretty good job. I would say that I'm doing no worse of a job than the 600 employees hired by PFF, because in there they said that they have former NFL players, former coaches, and then we don't care if you have experience at all. It's right on their website. They don't care if you have any experience. You can come and work for PFF and grade these guys. How does that work? How does that work, right? That means I don't have any experience playing in the NFL or coaching at a much higher level. I could go work for PFF and grade these guys.
Yeah. Now the person doing the final grading, they probably aren't the person that sat and watched all the film.
Exactly.
They're getting information from all these people that sat and watched the film and dissected it, and then they're taking what they did, regurgitating it, and giving it a final grade.
Yeah. So, yes, there's a lot of flaws, and that's why we can't use PFF as the end-all be-all. That's why when you go from PFF to ESPN to NFL.com to 33rd Team to Ringer to whatever, I don't care who it is you're looking at, they're all different. Every single one of them is different. There's a reason for that. I think some are better than others. So anyway, right now, Micah Parsons is at number 1. Aiden is at number 2 with a 25.5% win rate with 31 total pressures. Let me remind you, I went through this last night. Eric, they're counting pressures over 4 seconds.
Wow.
Okay, 4 seconds. So the guy, I asked this last night. Give me in the chat, tell us right now, who do you think, some of you already know the answer, who do you think has the longest time to throw in the NFL on average through 5 weeks? Who do you think it is, Eric?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Who do you guys think it is in the chat? And if I were to tell you that number is 3.17 seconds, what is the pressure at 4 seconds doing? Well, what is it doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Around. It might be Patrick Mahomes then, because he's their leading rusher, and he's just running around all damn day.
So if you're getting a pressure at 4 seconds, but the average time to throw is 3.17 for this player, but yet Jared Goff on average was, 2.7-ish? If you're not getting to Goff in 2.69 seconds, you're not getting a sack. Right? You're not getting a sack. It's not possible. That's average time. Right? There could be plays that are a little bit longer, plays that are a little bit faster. Hell, there was some quarterbacks that were getting the ball out in like 2.3 seconds. Matthew Stafford, I think, had the quickest arm. So again, if you go and look at all the metrics and you start to look and you say, okay, some of the quarterbacks with the longest time to throw had the most sacks. How does that make sense? Well, it could make sense if the DBs are making the quarterback pat the ball, right? Your receivers aren't getting open. But then some of the quarterbacks that had the quickest time to throw had some of the most sacks. Why would that make sense? Well, that means that they're probably having a little bit more pressure quicker. A quick pressure is the only thing I care about. So with Aiden having 31 total pressures, my question is, how many are under 2.5 seconds? Because if they're not under 2.5 seconds, I think that they need to separate these. And they need to separate it from 2.5 seconds, 2 3/4 seconds, 3 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is when the pressure happened. But there are so many different variables and variances on how they recorded these stats. It is so convoluted. People were confused last night, as was I. By the end of this, my brain hurt. Like there was smoke coming out of my ears. Yeah. So Myles Garrett's number 3, Joey Bosa's at number 4, Malik Collins at number 5. I'm going to skip all the way down to number 11, which is Al-Qadim Muhammad, 86.2 overall grade, 20.8 pass rush win rate with 17 pressures on the season. And then I'm going to skip all the way down to number 26. Tied for 26 with 3 other guys, which would be Zadarius Smith, the 78.6 overall pass rush win rate, 19.5, grade, 19.5 pass rush win rate, and 9 pressures on the season. A whole 9. That's right, just 9. I'm going to say it one more time, just 9. And he has how many sacks? No batted passes. I think he has 3 sacks on the season. But then I want to bring one player up that nobody expected, except for this guy. Nobody expected this guy to be anywhere mentioned as a pass rusher. And that is your rookie defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams. Graded as the best rookie pass rusher. Williams was part of a dominant pass rush that generated 28 pressures against the Bengals in Week 5. The 28th overall pick this year's draft ranked second on the team behind Aiden Hutchinson in PFF pass rush grade at 76.3 across 13 pass rush snaps. So big ups to Tyleik Williams, man. He's doing exactly what I thought he would be doing, which is if he's not getting the sack, he's batting those passes down. And according to PFF, that is a big leverage point in their grading. It's not just getting a sack. It's getting the quarterback off their spot. It's batting a pass down, which is just as good as a TFL or a sack. So Tyleik is doing great things. I can't imagine where he's going to be at the midpoint of this season. And I know that it sounds like I'm saying FPFF and then, okay, PFF saying something good. No, you can watch the film on Tyleik. You know that he's doing great things right now, this early in his career. What is he going to look like in year 2 or 3 compared to what Aleem McNeil was doing early in his career, right? Aleem started to finally get some love and attention from the league probably halfway through his second season. Tyleik is going to be leagues ahead of Aleem McNeil is my guess. This dude's going to be one of the most dominant defensive tackles in the league probably by year 3. Maybe even next year. Huge pickup. Huge pickup for us. Extremely impressed with the way that he is operating right now. And sky's the limit for this kid, man. What are your comments here?
Hey, maybe this year he can be that dominant. And now we have Aleem McNeil, who looks like, by all accounts, he's probably going to play this weekend. Maybe be on a pitch count or something. So we're going to get to see what he looks like alongside Aleem McNeil. We're going to get to see, maybe we got a big package with all 3 of them, Reader, Aleem McNeil, and Tyleik Williams all in there at the same time to stop the run. I think this is going to help our run defense getting him back. And I think that Tyleik Williams is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And by all accounts, they talked about how good his pass rush was going to be when they drafted him. And they talked about how great his feet are and how much he reminds them of Aleem McNeil. So having 2 Aleem McNeils out there at the same time, man, you better get ready, NFL, because that's going to be one dominant inside pass rush.
Yeah, it's going to be super dominant. By the way, we are coming up on another mark. We are about to hit 3 million views.
Oh, really? Nice.
So that's another big mark. By the way, so this channel getting over 10,000. The reason why it's an important milestone, and we're flying. I don't know what happened in the last week, but like almost 300 subscribers now.
Yeah, finally hit the algorithm.
So, yeah, we're at 10,123, and we were at 9,910 or something just the other day before we hit 10,000 that day. So something happened. I know everything updated on YouTube side, so I don't know if I was stuck in an old version and everybody else is on the new version of YouTube and I just happened to get upgraded. No clue. But getting to 3 million views and 10,000 plus subscribers, that is top. I thought it was top 1.2%. It's closer to top 3% of all channels that'll hit 10,000. That's a big deal, right? The next milestone is 100. Like between 10,000 and 100, there's really nothing, difference. You know what I mean for YouTube, but it's a big milestone. So I just wanted to say thank you guys once again Everybody that
Got it.
listens and has helped this channel grow. So
At 100,000, don't you get your silver button?
yeah, you get something, some plaque.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about taking this to 100K. I got other channels that will get there. They'll get there eventually. All right, so that's your update on the pass rush win rate. But I wanted to give a huge shout out to Tyreek, man. He's playing well, and he might be leading in batted passes or in the top 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that. I don't have that. I don't have that stat in front of me. But he's fun to watch, man. He's only going to get better. And like you said, him and Aleem, like they're gonna wreck some things, man. They're gonna wreck some things. And so when you get back to rushing natural with 4 and allowing your team to just be natural, that's when it gets fun. And that's what Brad, I think, has been trying to build since day one. I mean, clearly with the way that he, drafted and bringing in Pascal and Levi, you could tell that was the goal very early on. It just didn't work out because of injuries. But, all right, let's get into the game.
Sure.
Just got to get my notes pulled up.
Who do we want to talk about first?
Well, let me see which way my notes are going. Let's see here. Injuries, we did that. Consolidated injury list. Game plan. How Detroit wins with a depleted secondary. So we're going to start with the Detroit Lions defense of Blueprint versus Patrick Mahomes. And we're going to do that right when we get back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, so up next, we're going to be talking about the Detroit Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs this week. What do the Detroit Lions defense need to do to take care of Patrick Mahomes with a depleted secondary and the unknown surrounding the Detroit Lions defense? We're going to break it all down right now, or at least a little bit down right now. We got one other thing to pull up here, but I want to start with, I guess I'm going to start with Travis Kelce, because he's been this dominant player throughout his career. He's obviously getting a little bit older. Retirement on the horizon. There was, retirement talk last year, didn't happen. I think it's probably his last year. If they don't go the distance, then I feel like he's done. The rumor is that he's getting married next year anyway. I'm sure that he's going to want to be retired and be able to spend his days traveling the world, with his soon-to-be wife, right? So I would say that this is his last season. And he's still a problem at times, but if I look at the game so far, he's averaging about 50 yards per game, which is pretty good for a tight end. He only has 2 TDs on the season, one against the Jags, one against the Chargers. The Ravens, the Giants, and the Eagles all shut him out. Over his career, he's averaged, through the first 10 seasons, 9 seasons, he was averaging about 12.5 yards per catch. Really solid work. And then in 23, he took a little dip. And then in 24, he took a big dip where he was down about 4 yards per catch. Well, this season, he shot up. He's 11 yards average per catch, only 2 TDs. Last year, he had 3 TDs. 2023, he had 5. So he's about 3 seasons removed from when he had a double-digit season. 2022, he had 12. 21, he had 9. 2020, he had 11. So he probably averages that 7 to 8 touchdowns per season. So he's not far off, but he is playing a lot better. And so far through the season, If you take a look at what the Lions have done against tight ends this year, against the Packers, we allowed 4 receptions on 6 targets for 22 yards and a touchdown. Against the Bears, we allowed 2 catches on 3 targets for 29 yards, no TDs. The Ravens were able to get at us a little bit. They had 8 catches on 9 targets for 113 yards and 2 TDs. But the Browns and the Bengals were held out of the end zones. We have 3 teams that we held scoreless. The Browns tried to pepper us 10 times, but we had guys, that were healthy, right? We had DJ Reed, we had Terry and Arnold. We don't have that opportunity now because Amik Robertson is going to be pulled out of the slot to be put at the right corner position. And Brian Branch obviously is going to have a significant game against Kelsey, I think. They're probably going to put him on Kelsey as much as possible. So it'd be interesting to what the Lions do defensively and how they're going to change things up. I don't think we're going to be able to go man heavy in this game. So I think it's going to be a lot of zone. And that is where Patrick Mahomes does a lot of dirty work. That is where Kelsey does a lot of dirty work. He finds those sit-down routes over the middle or on the seams. And that is where Kelsey has pretty good games. So I am expecting Kelsey to probably have a decent game, especially if you go back and look at the Ravens game again and you look at what they were able to do. I think that Mahomes and company mimic that style of an offense to a T. So my goal would be for Kelsey, you want to use some cone or some double brackets between Joseph and Branch on Kelsey, especially on 3rd down or red zone. You want to force Mahomes to pivot a little bit on the perimeter and hit the wide receivers as opposed to Kelsey. Kansas City's depth is a little bit unsettled right now with Rashee Rice out or suspended, and Worthy's status, as you mentioned this morning with the injury, kind of in flux a little bit. Is he going to play at full strength? Is he not? Is he going to play, period? If Worthy's out, then obviously Kelsey's a primary target. If Worthy's in, I think that you're probably going to get a little bit more thrown his way anyway. And then they have this other receiver, which I always forget his name. Tyquan Thornton or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Who has played pretty well so far this season. They also have Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown. So they have options, right? They have a lot of options. And Hollywood Brown so far in the season, 26 catches. That shouldn't be playing. Hold on. There we go. My bad. 26 catches, 257 yards, 1 TD on the season. Juju Smith-Schuster, 16 receptions, 168 for yardage, 1 TD. Let me pull up the other guy. Tyquan Thornton, 13 receptions, 272 yards, 3 TDs. So he's absolutely played really well. He's a bigger receiver at 6'2", 185. Has good speed. And he's a primary target and a threat. I mean, he's outperformed everybody on this team so far. This is a guy that I think that you're going to have to pay a lot of attention to, as well as Kelsey. If we take a look at Kelsey's production so far in the season, he's been a big target, 22 receptions, 243 for yardage, and 2 TDs. So it's Tyquan Thornton, it's Travis Kelsey. I mean, those are the primary guys that I think that you're going to have to do a little bit of zone match. Probably a little bit of cover 6 or 3 buzz technique in this game. I think that, the safeties can cap the explosives. You're going to gain some curl flat leverage by using that style of a defense on the outs and the crossers. And then you're going to want to rotate Branch, I think, as the buzz to rob the dig routes. And if the Lions can do that effectively, assuming that Branch is going to be playing at a high level, then I think they'll have some success doing it with that. But I also believe the simulated pressure is probably going to be utilized a lot in this game. 4-man rush versus, 6 or 5. You want to use a 4-man rush as often as possible against Mahomes. Present pressure with Aiden, and then you align that tack to Jawan Taylor's set, and then you get a little bit of inside games with Tyreek Williams and DJ Reader, or Ali McNeil and Tyreek Williams, but you want to game them up a little bit. Use some stunts, use some twists, but keep a fifth person in coverage, right? Keep a fifth in coverage to protect the seams, which is where Kelsey is going to do his dirty work. KC runs a lot of game, or KC's run game, has been very inconsistent this season. I am less concerned about their run game, so I want to focus on the passing. Increased passing volume and exposure by KC is expected in this game. I think that they're going to pass a ton, and we can naturally take away the run, even though Pacheco has shown to be explosive in the past, as well as Kareem Hunt. They're not the same player, but so far, Pacheco's 39 carries, 163, hasn't scored. Kareem Hunt is 43 carries, 164, 3 TDs. So I would look for Kareem Hunt inside the red zone. I would look for Isaiah Pacheco between the 20s. Not to say that they won't use them in other spots, but receiving-wise, Kareem Hunt has 6 catches for 44 yards and no TDs. I don't have the splits in front of me as far as where he's getting the ball. I call it splits, but I'd like to see like the route trees and all that good stuff. Pacheco in the receiving game has 9 catches, 46 yards, 1 TD. So he's been utilized a little bit more often out of the backfield. But overall, the Kansas...
You just glitched out and the stream paused there for a second.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But this is my thoughts on Kelsey and the Detroit Lions defense this weekend. If you look at what Kelsey's been doing this year, he has recorded a 20% target rate this season. And that's his lowest since 2016. And he's got an average of just 11 miles an hour on his routes, the second slowest among tight ends with 50 routes or more, and his slowest in any season over that same span. Kelsey, though, has accumulated 153 yards after the catch, so he's getting some yak. He's got the 5th most